probably are going to be rolling right away. So we'll see. All right, let's start with icon relationships. Go ahead and roll them.
No 5s, no 6s.
Oh, geez, there it came back.
Everything just came through. All right.
I lost my relationship roll, is it? Okay.
The spam, yeah, just came through. All right.
Look, here's a map.
Yeah, I moved over to the map like a couple minutes ago.
I just did.
All right, let's see.
No 5s or 6s here.
Yeah.
So Juan D and Gemma you did get them. So what are you going to assign them to?
I'm going to assign mine to House Madani.
So that's a 6 with House Madani?
Yes.
Okay. And Gemma
I'm gonna go with Hold on just a second here, I'm sorry. It's mostly my ignorance, I apologize.
Excuse me.
I think I know who I want it to be, but I have to go check these.
Okay.
We changed it so you can assign, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta fix my.
Reaches. Thank you, that's what I was trying to remember. Did you hear me?
I heard some of what you said.
Eldine reaches.
Okay. Okay. So that's what I've got listed right now.
Good for me.
All right. All right. Who wants to sum up what happened last week or last session, since it was almost last month?
I will be right back. I need a napkin.
Yeah. Isn't that what the thing on the top of your lip is for?
I think he only saves that for special occasions, namely dessert.
That's hot.
Anyway, who would like to sum up before I volunteer someone?
Vicky, it's up there. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And by dessert, she means giving candy to little boys.
What?
Yeah, that's definitely that kind of mustache.
Either that or making 80s porn. You know, take your pick. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The 80s porn will come in about 2 weeks.
As it were.
Bound chicka hank hank.
No, Lloyd. Just no.
Hank?
Anyway, somebody is going to sum up the last session, or I'm going to volunteer someone. You have 5 seconds.
I unfortunately wasn't here, not it.
4.
Last session, we more or less wrapped up the issues in the Northeast. We were able to semi-successfully capture us a vampire and put him in a bag of holding. I say semi-successfully because, oh dear gods, if that was any more of a pity fuck, then I think I would have been crying.
It really was.
We walk up from the downstairs where we were battling, and by battling I mean falling on top of disgracefully said vampire, to find ourselves surrounded by what I have started to kindly think of as a bunch of a-holes. The green, or the emerald claw blokes that they may not be the same guys that attacked us on the airship, but they're, you know, same group, so not winning a bunch of points. Got away from them by using the Sao Tome form martial art.
Running away.
Yes, running away. Eventually got back to town, kind of turned ourselves in to the authorities and said, hey, we're trying to get the hell out of your hair, get us to the rail station so we can get back home. They did, we got home. turned over the vampire in a same bag of holding. He has a stake through his heart. I lobbied for our immediate supervisor to try to see if we can't get him released from his bondage to his sire so that he can be an agent for the Dark Lanterns instead of his previous role as a sword. All in all, it wound up being that we kind of got a attaboy pat on the back. Could have been a little bit more graceful about the whole thing, but we still got the job done in the end. We left off immediately after that meeting, where we were going to be spending some time before our next adventure, as it were, because things, dust just kind of has to settle. There are still some loose ends that need to be tied up. Among them is we have no idea where Grillshow went. We think that she is dead. We're not sure whether or not she may be undead. She may be carrying on Lucan's task right now, and we definitely don't know where his boss was, which is kind of unsettling to me. But ultimately, the task that we were set to has been accomplished. We just found bigger tasks to take on during the process.
Yeah, that's more or less right. So all of you have about 2 weeks of downtime. You don't have to do anything together. In fact, you probably think that it might be best not to do anything together because that might be a little suspicious. But
I really don't want to look at Wraith's faces anymore either.
I'm pretty sure, for the most part, you weren't looking at Wraith's face. Especially,
I made it plural.
Yeah, but for the most part, he's been in one particular face lately, and you weren't looking at that.
Well, on the airship, I definitely wasn't looking at his face. Hey-o.
I think this was and Aaron was going with that.
All right, so who wants to go first? Who wants to do their stuff first? Or at least get started?
Well, I can start with mine.
All right.
First thing he really does, what Cord is doing when he gets home, is he wants to continue his contact with Chana Top at Sterngate, and that's really nothing more than constructing a kind of a custom case for her tools, kind of a gratitude thing for helping him out.
Okay.
Beyond that, he's going back to his cover as trying to help out the local, I guess, the people that he's worked with before on archaeology and such. I'm trying to get out on a couple of digs just to be like, oh, here's what we're doing and that sort of thing. But also, he's using that time to talk with any of the other artificers or archaeologists from Zolargo, because he realized going out to this battle and this whole mission, he was pretty ill prepared. So he's just looking at ways to see and trying to find tips and tricks on how to become a better artificer, so to speak.
Okay. So on one of these nights, you come back from meeting with people from the university, and you open your door, and sitting in one of your chairs, looking around, flipping through one of your books, is a figure that you weren't expecting to see, and is probably not the thing, not the person you really wanted to see. The figure stands up, impeccably dressed, looks it over to you and says, "Is this the sort of state you're living in, son?"
Oh. Good evening, Father.
I expected more from you, boy. This place is it's a disaster area. It looks like a chimera has run through this place.
Well, Unfortunately, I've had some time away, and then in time that I have come back, I have decided to keep away really um, from my home.
I had noticed this. I was here a few days ago and was informed that you had left Sharn, which was quite a surprise. After all, the only reason you have this place is because you're supposed to be studying. Uh, you are studying, correct, son?
Oh, absolutely. I've been. We went off. I was able to have a chance to go studying abroad, so to speak, and so I actually ended up training for a small little bit with a young lady who is from Sterngate. Has her own workshop there. I was able to work a little bit and work on my craft.
He kind of snorts a little derisively, but it's more because he would have kind of preferred you be working on the family business instead of doing all this artifice crap. He thinks it's kind of worthless.
Yeah, and I've always, well, Cord's always known that he's thought that, and that's why he usually stays out of his, stays out of his line of sight, so to speak.
So, he gives you this little derisive snort, shakes his head, and says, "Well, I would be interested to hear more of this woman in Sterngate. Do you have any plans for this evening? Your mother is in town, and she would very much like to see you as well."
No plans. I can clear my schedule to attend a dinner.
Very well. Then let us be off immediately. Your mother has been.
Whoa! Immediately.
She's not been doing well of late.
Oh.
We brought her here to see a specialist. And well, we have hopes that everything will get better, but your mother is a bit of a worrywart, and she thinks that this may be the last time seeing you, and
Oh.
and I just don't feel like arguing the point. I'm sure she will be around for many years to come, but you know how she can get when she gets in those moods.
Yeah, she does tend to worry quite often.
So she will very likely be very maudlin and saccharine, and I just do your best to keep your mother in high spirits.
As I shall. Please give me a little bit of time to, just a short little bit to clean up and, fancy myself up a little bit more than I am currently.
I suppose that can be arranged. Yes. How about I come back here in an hour with your mother, and then we can venture off to some restaurant or another.
Excellent.
I'm sure you know a restaurant that will be suitable for our tastes.
Oh, I know a couple of fine eateries around this area.
Very well. Then I will return in an hour. Make yourself as well. Just do better than you usually do, Cord.
Well, thank you. Yes, I definitely will.
If not for my sake, then for your mother's sake.
Yeah, thanks.
And he walks away into the evening. It's probably at this point its sun is already set. Probably 5 or so.
Now, here's the kind of elephant in the room, or maybe I should say construct in the room. I've got a big fuck all arm, and I'm not too sure if he, even if, I don't know, I'm not sure if my father knows yet, but I definitely know my mother doesn't know about this.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm willing to assume that he's just looking upon, and he sees my arm as one of those things that's just dumb shit kid's gonna do what dumb shit kid does.
Yeah,
Right.
he's glad you're not the eldest child. Is more or less what it
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, I'm not the heir, so I can attach giant pimp hands to myself without real big repercussions.
Yeah, more or less.
All right. So essentially, for this, I'm going to dress up in the nicest clothes I have, but I'm also going to be wearing a cloak that does mask the arm, because
You could
it
do
doesn't.
like one of those side cloaks that the
Yeah, exactly.
stormtrooper woman in the new movies has got.
Yeah, essentially, I'm just doing that to keep her from from doing the old. Oh my God, what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay, that works. So you're getting ready to go to a fancy night with your parents. Who wants to go next? Who wants to go next before I pick somebody to go next?
I have a feeling you're not gonna like what I came up with.
Well, let's find out. If I don't like it, well, tough shit. I can just ruin your life later.
So my friend Caleb comes to visit and asks if I want to go on a little mission with him and see some of my friends among the druids.
Okay. And where are these friends among the druids? Are they up in the Eldeen Reaches?
Yes.
All right. So how are you planning on getting there and back in the next couple of weeks?
His airship, of course.
It's kind of expensive.
So
As
he
I'm
has
sure
his own
you...
airship. He's a pirate.
Oh, he's got an airship.
He's got an
Okay.
airship. He's a, quote, pirate. And he's
Okay.
got a mission in mind to get some medication, some medication from the druids in the Eldeen Reaches and deliver them to a team of friendly hobgoblins who have a weird fever. The hobgoblins live in Suthar Draw.
Hold on, I need to look at the map on that.
What do you think I've been doing for the last 10 minutes?
And this was in the Eldeen Reaches?
No, the Suthrar is south of the Eldeen Reaches. He has an airship. So we started the Eldeen Reaches to the druids to pick up the meds and then go to the hobgoblin farm.
Oh, I see. You're going to Dargoon for it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Ping where this place is in the... Assuming this bloody thing is working. I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear you.
Hold on just a second. I'm trying to make my keyboard work. Enter. Thank you. It's to the north of northeast of the it's to the north of Drom, right outside of the Bayesh Mountains. It's the first place you get to on the other side of the Bayesh Mountains.
Oh, I see it. Okay. That's fine. Silberon. Okay. So why is Caleb bringing you on this? Why is he coming all the way down to Sharn to pick you up for this?
Because he knows that I have a connection with the druids and the Eldeen Reaches and knows that I might want to see some old friends and knows that I would appreciate going on this kind of adventure.
All right. So where is he taking you in the Eldeen Reaches? Where is your first stop?
That's an excellent question. We go to Delathorn.
Let's see. Where the hell is California?
Right on Lake Galifar.
I'm sorry, right on what?
Lake Galifar, west of Cree.
Oh, Delathorn. Okay. I thought you said Galathorn. First, it's coming through kind of muddied. But that's fine. All right, so you land in Delathorn. You step off the the ship, and waiting for you, almost like she knew you were there, is Rose Longbottom.
Is who?
Rose Longbottom.
Ooh, are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure about that.
Okay.
So,
That's who I think it is. This is going to get really interesting.
I'm not sure who you think it is, but we'll see.
Let me go find my character sheet. Hold on.
Yes, you should.
I'm not sure if you got a little hinty there about who that was.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Send me a message on. You can either email it to me or send it to me a private message on Roll20, which I think is still working. The red box has shown up again a couple of times.
All right, let me just pull this up just to make sure that I'm not losing it. Where did I put it? Where are my,
Do you want me to link them? I've got them open.
just a second. Well, yeah, that'll help. Oh, it is on the portal. I could have looked on the portal.
Yes, they are on the portal.
Oh, okay, good. It's not Daisy. All right, never mind. Yeah, okay, that's better.
If you were still in Sharn, it would be Daisy.
Okay.
That was the plan anyway, but we'll see.
Okay.
Anyway, you step off, and Rose is sitting there waiting for you. And before you can even, process that she's there, she's got you in a big hug. Then takes you, and says, "A little bird told me you would be here today. So, what brings you back to the Reaches?"
Well, apparently Caleb is conniving behind my back for a little family reunion.
Actually, in this case, I literally meant a little bird told me you were going to be here today.
Okay.
Caleb, I mean, he may have hinted at some stuff, but you know how he is. He's hinting at stuff all the time, so you stop paying attention to it after a while. He just really wants you to ask. But no, a little bird told me he saw Caleb's ship, spotted a familiar silhouette on deck, and I decided to come and see if it was you. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. How are you?
I'm doing as well as might be expected. Everything it's difficult times in here, but it's slowly getting better now that the war is over. And how have you been? What have you been up to?
Oh, I blush and look down, stuff and things.
I see you're just as bad as Caleb sometimes about keeping secrets. I suppose it doesn't matter as long as you're doing well. That's what's important. So, what is?
Now that you're here.
That's nice of you to say. But before Caleb drags you off to whatever nefarious scheme he's got cooked up this time, why don't you stop by and have a nice hot meal? I'm sure that whoever Caleb's got cooking on that thing can't be as good as I am.
You know exactly what you're talking about. I'd be happy to.
I suppose you haven't gotten poisoned from that, but yeah. I suppose you have to do what you have to do. So she takes you to her home. It's not terribly close, but it's not too far away. Caleb tells you that he's got to unload some things before they're ready to be off anyway, so that you have a couple of days to spend in the Reaches, as you will. Rose lives about a day away, give or take. She lives almost directly northwest, right on the edge of the forest, right about there. She's got what you might describe as a hobbit hole, for lack of a better way to put it. There's a hill that's been hollowed out that is very comfortable and cozy. You haven't been here in several years, but not much has changed since then. And now who wants to go next? I'm just going to keep cycling around so that nobody is waiting around for too long by themselves.
I guess I'll go ahead and put my foot in it.
All right, go for it. What are you planning on doing?
All right. Immediately, I've been away for a while, so I want to check in on my shop. Make sure that the shopkeep that I've left in charge of things, Evan,
Yes.
is basically not blown the place up.
So you get there. Evan looks up from the counter where he's just kind of he's kind of carving into the countertop with his knife. He very clearly looks bored. He looks up when the bell rings as you open the door, and a mixed emotions pass across his face. Panic because you've just caught him carving into the countertop, and but happiness because he hasn't seen you in like 2 weeks. He says, "Boss, you're finally back. How did things go?"
No.
He's very nonchalantly trying to cover up the countertop with he's leaning over. He's got his forearm on it, just trying not to get you to notice, and in so drawing more attention to it.
I'm going to kind of play this one a little bit cool, not really focus on it, just go with the flow of it. Well, it could have gone better. There was a party that was kind of fun.
Oh, what kind of party?
An embassy party. It was a little bit more lively than some of the other embassy parties I've been to.
Was everybody dressed up really fancy? What was the food like?
Food? I don't think I had any of the food. We had to leave a little bit more quickly. Then we ran into a associate, I guess you could call him, and he insisted that we follow him out of town. It was fun. How have things been here? Have you any big sales, any big rentings, any big business going on?
It's been kind of slow. Not a lot of people coming in and out. There's been just not a lot coming through. I've been really bored.
And did you go to any of the events that were going on and try to drum up any business?
Yeah, of course I did. You know I was going to do that. He's totally lying. He is so full of shit. He's like, yeah, every day, I was out announcing all of our great deals and products that we have here, the highest quality, and but yeah, nobody seemed interested. Nobody, no.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll have to make some rounds a little bit later on and see what sort of parties are coming up, see if I can't get anybody interested in something on their shoulder or hanging from their arm. Let's see, where did I leave those books? I'm kind of rifling around the office. I go into, there's an office in the back where I normally keep the books, and I kind of head back that direction, leaving his sight and very obviously doing so.
He kind of he gets up and kind of looks for you. He wants to follow you very clearly, but after a few moments, I should say, he goes back to the countertop with a very loud and obnoxious sigh. It's the teenagers. Why do I put up with this kind of sigh?
Do I find the office more or less in the state that I left it?
Yeah, it hasn't been messed up too much. In fact, you're not even sure if he's been in here at all.
Which is kind of what I expected. I look at the ledger very briefly, make notice that there's no entries in it at all.
The ledger does have a few entries, but not very many.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah, it's you probably would have expected a lot more in any other 2-week period, but there are a few.
All right. I walk back up front, tell him, all right, I'm going to go out. I need to go find out what kind of events are going on. I haven't had time to be able to check the social calendar yet, so I'm going to go do that, find out what I need to be gearing up for.
Okay,
And
boss, I'll stay here and keep an eye on the place.
was I able to actually see what he was carving? Was it just his name?
Yeah.
As I'm leaving, I say over my shoulder, by the way, your name would look better in italics. And then just leave.
Yeah, you hear a thump, and he's very clearly dropped the knife that he was using for it. All right, then on to Pearl. Pearl, what are you up to?
After I go home and get a quick night's rest, I would like to go talk to Sam.
All right. So where is Sam in this whole list? Let's actually move back over to the Sharn map for the moment. Where's Sam at?
Sam would probably be in the poorer part of Sharn. That's my general vicinity.
All right, so probably the lower levels. Let's see. Like as in a slum or just poorer?
Just poorer.
All right. Let's say he's over. Yeah, he's over in Tumbledown.
Okay.
And then north part of Sharn. Basically, he's over here.
All right.
So Tumbledown is not a great neighborhood, but it's not the worst either. It just has a lot of riffraff coming from the nearby neighborhoods, predominantly Harith's Folly, and to some extent the Bazaar.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be worse.
Okay. And I'd like to go around probably early afternoon when he doesn't get a lot of business, when people aren't eating or drinking, when it's slow, pretty much.
Okay.
Right. And sorry, cats like everywhere. And I'd like to, burst through the front door and call out, Sam? Sam!
You hear very faintly from the kitchen somebody swearing.
Ah, good old Sam.
And after a few moments, a balding man comes out dressed in well-worn but relatively clean clothes. Sees you and with an effort kind of puts a smile on his face. Ah, Pearl, it's been a while.
Yes, it has. How's business?
Business is doing okay.
I see.
It's a bit slow right now, but I expect, tonight it'll be a little better.
And how's your side work? Your hobby.
Yeah, about that. The watch has been, the watch has been watching. I don't know who decided to talk, but somebody definitely did. So it's keeping it a little lower right now. Just keeping
Ah,
it quiet.
fair enough, fair enough.
Why,
Some,
are you looking for work?
I am, but I am looking for some information, so to
No.
speak. Any rumors you've heard as of late?
What kind of rumors? You're going to have to be a lot more specific than that.
How do you feel about the undead?
Never been a fan of them. They don't drink and they smell really bad.
Yeah, they truly do. I've had some run-ins with a major undead. Anything going on around? Sorry, we were just in Breland, right? Or was it?
You
Where
were
did
in
we check?
You've been in Braylon the whole time, except for a brief stopover in Zalargo.
Okay,
So you're still in Braylon?
okay. And where was it? What was the town we were recently in?
Sterngate.
Sterngate?
Yeah.
Around the area of. Have you heard anything around the area of Sterngate?
Sterngate?
Yes.
Jeez. That's a ways away. Can't say I've heard anything about the undead there. Nothing. I mean, even if something's going on there, nobody's stopped in from there recently.
Well, if you do hear something, just keep an ear open. I am very interested in
Well,
some ongoings
you
there.
know me. I'm always listening. Always listening.
So, I assume there has been work has been very rare these days, or are you just keeping on the down low for now?
I'm keeping down and out of sight until they get bored and go and deal with somebody else. I can't afford to have anybody associated with me getting caught for anything right now.
All right, fair enough.
You know how it is, but
Yes, I do.
so it's been. I can still talk business. I can still talk information, but and acting on anything, it's a bit dicey right now. The watch
That's
has been really stirred up. Somebody poked a hornet's nest, and
really, and
I haven't heard why, and that kind of worries me. But they've been really aggressive lately, trying to crack down on suspects all
just
over Sharn.
all over. That is interesting.
Yeah, they don't go into the depths, so stuff's going business as usual there. I mean, that's just the way the depths works. The cogs, But up higher up, even the lower wards have been a lot of patrols, a lot of people being kept an eye on.
I see. Well, if you do find work within these I'll be around for the next 2 weeks. You know where to find me.
Yeah, I'll send you the message the usual way.
Yep, sounds good. And with that, I'll probably, leave and go talk to Verania if you want to move on to somebody else.
Okay, so yeah, let's go back to Cord. Cord, you've had an hour to get ready.
Yes.
You're about to go out with your parents. What's the name of the place you're taking your parents to?
We're going to a nice gnome fellow that I know. His name is Breon Fizgig, and he has a modest, if not still pretty fancy, kind of a boutique shop in an eatery. And it's he's not an artificer, but I have supplied him with many different inventions that really didn't do anything and ended up just being decoration. And he's always been appreciative, and generally is a very welcoming person to Cord.
Okay, so this is going to be over in Denius, the gnome neighborhood. It's
yeah.
So You go over here. The gnomes get a lot of them. You know, you've come here for more than a few times. A lot of them give you a passing nod as you go through. Some of them give you kind of a quizzical look and nod to towards your parents. Um, your mother looks a bit pale. She definitely looks thinner than the last time you saw her. She's before she would lean on your father, just kind of a affectionate gesture. Now you can tell that it's more of a necessary thing. She needs it to kind of help. She needs the support. But you get to this little boutique, this cafe, and walk in. And I'm sorry, what would can you post the guy's name in chat real quick?
Yeah. Breon Fizzgig.
All right, and you step in, and Breon says, "Ah, Cord, it's been a while. Come on in. We've got your usual table, and who might these two be, if you don't mind me asking?"
It's good to see you, Breon. Yes, these are my parents, Master Elric, and I don't know her name, and my mother.
Well, you get to make one up.
And Lydia.
Mr. Faldrin, it's nice to finally meet you, Miss Faldrin. You look exquisite. Your son has been a valued patron for many a year. Please let me show you to your table so you can get something to drink. Take a load off. Get comfortable.
And I make sure and make eye contact with Breon to kind of give him the signal that, yeah, this is, bring the good stuff.
So he takes you over to your table. It's over near the fireplace. It's nice and toasty warm, which is good because the weather outside is not terribly comfortable. It's not warm. There's no wind, there's no rain, but it's definitely a chill in the air. So after you seat, about a minute later, Breon comes over and says, "Compliments of the house. A nice red wine should help you warm up."
Thank you very much, Breon. Very much appreciated.
And I'll have a menu brought to you, and you can take your time deciding on what you would prefer to eat. But in the meantime, please enjoy the wine. It is a very good vintage out of Ander.
Definitely appreciate. Thank you. And I make sure and pour the wine with my good hand, keeping the other arm somewhat hidden, and not even really small talking, but just kind of gauging how my father feels about this place, seeing how he's looking, and see if maybe he's slightly impressed by the fancy wine.
He doesn't look impressed at first, but he doesn't look upset either. Then he takes a sip of the wine, looks at it kind of appraisingly, asks you to hand over the bottle so he can look at the vintage.
I definitely hand him the bottle.
He looks at it and takes another sip and sets it down with just a slight nod.
You know what? That's about as best as I'm gonna get, or if I've gotten in a while. So
take it and get out, run.
Yeah, that's pretty much your father in a nutshell. The compliments come very quietly and very infrequently, but they do come.
I guess then I just let's talk with my mother and ask her. It's just kind of, how are you doing, Mom?
She says, "Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm a bit under the weather. We've come to see somebody here in Sharn about it. Just as a precaution. We don't want to worry you or anything. She's never been very good at lying to anybody, but especially to you. She definitely doesn't have the same sort of strength in her voice as she usually does. It's coming through very kind of a pale imitation of its usual self. She's normally been a very bubbly, very energetic person, and she's just seems drained.
Do you know when you're going to be able to see the specialist?
Oh, it should be in the next couple of days. It's that they're very busy, so it's understandable that we should have to wait. Disappointing, perhaps, but understandable.
Well, definitely, I want to be kept updated on your situation and your status. I want to know how you're feeling.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be in town for a few days. We can spend some time together. It's been a long time since I've seen you, Cord. It's so good to see you. Yeah, tell me how you've been doing. Your father says that you were out in Sterngate, I think he said.
Yes, I've been studying, and I had a chance to study abroad down over at Sterngate, and it gave me the chance to actually work in yeah, with some people and a couple of people in a workshop to kind of learn some smithy trade. Just to kind of, broaden my horizons and help me out as I was working with the archaeology and the artifice.
That's really good, Cord. I'm glad to see that you're still studying and applying yourself and trying to be the best that you can be. I know your father is really hard on you, and your father gives both of you kind of a stare at that. But your mother keeps going. He just wants you to do well in life, and we both know that you can do that as long as you apply yourself. But how's are you seeing anybody right now? Is there a woman in your life or a
Oh,
man? A man is okay too.
no, no, no men or women. Uh, Nothing beyond just my studies and trying to focus on that. It hasn't left me a whole lot of time to be able to do anything else, to be perfectly honest.
Really, you need to try to be more social. You need to get out more, see more people. Cord, it's good for you. It's not healthy to stay in a workshop all the time. You need to be social. You need to get out there and meet people. It's
That
I
is that is a wonderful thought, and that's something I will definitely try to do more of, Mom.
that's good, Cord. I hope you do. I hope you meet a nice girl, settle down, give me some grandkids.
Mm.
Just but I don't mean to be pushy. I'm sorry, Cord dear.
Yeah, that's okay. That's why I love you, Mom. Hopefully our menus will get here soon.
Thankfully, Breon has been kind of lingering around, and he takes the anvil-sized hint for what it is, and one of the waiters shows up and hands out three menus. It's a very it's the menus are very curated. It's not a huge selection of stuff, but you know from your time being here that it's all going to be fresh and it's all very good. It says, if I might suggest, the seafood today is very fresh. We have a nice mussels in wine sauce, and he goes on and lists
Yeah.
lists about a half dozen different um, dishes. And your father seems very approving of the whole thing. It's he hasn't tasted it yet, but it's the kind of fare that he expects. Um, Your mother's like, I just want a little bit of something. I'm not all that hungry.
Mm. And I'm kind of watching my father's reactions when she's ordering and saying these things like she's not hungry or she's like, "Oh, I'm just tired." How does he react?
It's a very kind of protective reaction. He's like, no, Lydia, you need to eat something. You don't need to eat a lot, but you have to eat something. He's much more soft with her than he ever is with you.
Yeah.
But very protective. He's insisting that she eats, that she drink, that she not overindulge the wine too much,
Yeah.
but that she just relax and enjoy the night, have a nice meal.
And that's, I mean, essentially what I'm trying to do as well. Definitely going to try to deflect any awkward talk, but never be unpleasant at this
There's
point
a
because
lot of
there's
awkward
something.
talk.
Yeah, I can get how mom is.
Well, it's not just mom. Mom's got one flavor of awkward talk. Your dad's got another flavor, and he wants to know everything you've been doing. You know, he wants to know. He's basically. It comes down to what have you been spending my money on? That kind of thing. What are you studying? What's the sort of things going on? What was it exactly that you were studying that you had to go to Stern Gate for? He's very kind of nosy.
Yeah, and for the most part, I'm just going to kind of deflect to him in the terms of especially making specific eye contact and being like, oh, well, I'll show you the stuff I've been making in the workshop in the morning if you would like to. Trying to make the point of, hey, let's not do this in front of mom and I can explain things better without throwing it out there.
He lays off a bit. He still kind of needles you with questions that aren't quite as sensitive, but he I think even he realizes that if he were to lay off you entirely, your mom might suspect something was weird.
Yeah.
So he still needles you about stuff and says, "Oh, this is really good food. How often are you coming here for it? Spending my gold, my silver,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing."
And a lot of those are, well, if you notice all of the different trinkets and such around the building, I really do help them out in those sort of terms and give a nice flair to this place. So they're very good to me on prices.
And Barrios shows up like the master entertainer and host that he is and says, yes, he's been very helpful, Mr. Faldrin. It's without him, we wouldn't have this very unique atmosphere. And in return, it doesn't hurt to show our appreciation with a fine meal every so often. Would you like more wine?
And I would definitely like more wine.
How much of the bottle have you drank so far?
Yeah, out of all of it, probably at least 2 or 3 glasses, and I'm making sure that we're filling it back up, or we're getting another bottle.
Yeah. But the meal, for the most part, goes pretty well. Your mother does eat. She has a seafood rice dish, and she compliments Barrios on her chef. She thanks you for taking her. She loves gnome cuisine. You know this. Zalargo cuisine is one of her favorites. But she doesn't eat it as much because your dad isn't quite as much of a fan.
Yeah. He isn't a fan of anything, is it?
No, he's the kind of person who just tolerates stuff at most.
Yeah.
But there are a few things your dad really likes, but he's really loath to show it at any point. So the meal concludes. It's when you go to pay, Barrios says, "We'll discuss it at another time, Cord. I'm sure you'd like to get your parents back to their accommodations and get home for some rest yourself. You're looking a little flushed in the cheeks."
I feel fine, and I appreciate your hospitality, sir. We will discuss payment at a later date.
Yes, Mr. Fordrin, it has been fantastic having you here. I'm glad to have finally met you after knowing your son for so long. And Miss Faldrin, you look fantastic, and I'm glad that you have graced our establishment with your presence.
I owe Fizzgig a statue.
Yeah, more or less. He's going to bend you over the barrel for this one,
And yeah, I know, but yeah, anything to make Mom less annoying.
All right. So you walk them back to. They've got a nice. They've got a nice inn higher up in the upper levels. Over in the where is it? I don't remember. We don't need an exact one for right now. But you're taking up the towers. Someplace very nice, much higher than you can be expected to afford on any given night. your father's at the door. Your father escorts your mother in and says, we'll talk more later, son. As your mother has mentioned, we're going to be in town for a few days."
I understand that we will talk. Please feel free to stop by the workshop. Just give me a little bit of notice so I can tidy up a bit.
Yes, I will do exactly that. Though I do wish, Cord, that you would learn that cleanliness is better for you in the long run. But
I understand.
anyway, I have to go take care of your mother. Thank you for the meal. Thank your friend for the being an excellent host.
I will definitely let Mr. Fizzgig know.
And then you're on your own.
Thank God.
Then let's go back to who was up next? It was
I believe,
yeah, it was Gemma Beth.
who was last having a delicious meal with Rose.
Yes, it is a
And more than
mushroom.
likely a little bit more than dinner.
Yes, mushroom and venison stew. Some of the best you've ever had.
Well, of course, Rose is cooking.
Well, yes, but even by Rosa's standards, this is amazing. She says, So what have you been up to of late? It's not like you to go so long between coming up to visit the Reaches.
Work mostly.
Yeah,
Spending some time at the university learning lots of new things.
that's. I'm proud of you for that. Many from here in the Reachers discount the kind of learning that you can do in the university, but there's so much more to know than you can learn just by being out here in the woods. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot to know here as well, but it's good to have a broad education, and I'm glad to see you doing that.
You know me. Any chance to learn something new is a chance worth taking.
I've always been proud of you for that. I know Daisy has been as well, though. Well,
Have you talked to Daisy? I haven't seen her in a couple of weeks.
no, I haven't seen her in a while. She keeps to herself a lot. She doesn't. She stays down there in Sharn and just. I don't know. We've invited her to come and visit. I would dearly love to see her again, but she insists that she's better off down there, and I don't entirely understand why, but I have to respect her decision.
I'll see if I can bring her up here. The fresh air will do her good.
I think it would too. I think she misses this place, but something is keeping her there in Sharn, and I can't even begin to guess what. But at least she has you down there in Sharn to keep a watch over her, and vice versa, I'm sure. She's always been very protective of you.
And I have her. Poor thing. She's as much help as she can get.
That's true. But don't underestimate her. There's more strength, more steel in her than most people would give her credit for. Bloody hell. All right, just a second. I have a phone call coming in. Everybody take a break. Go pee. Go get something to drink. Whatever. I will be right back.
I'm gonna go see if there's any more spaghetti. That was none. You didn't get to taste my spaghetti, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know who else is, but I'm back at the very least. Alright, who's back? Who's not back? Who we still waiting on?
I'm here. Whee!
Okay. I see Darred. I think we're just waiting on the Florida contingent. Man, daylight savings is still fucking with my sense of time. It feels so much later than it actually is.
I thought you were in a place that doesn't do that.
No, that's Arizona.
Oh, I thought you were in Arizona. That's right, you're in New Mexico.
New Mexico? That's okay. Everybody thinks that too.
So, okay, so you are on the same time as me then. Okay, that totally makes sense then.
No, I'm not.
Wait, no,
I'm an hour ahead of you.
That's right, so you're an hour ahead anyway. Whatever. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just confused as fuck.
I think currently, Arizona is on the same as you, but I'm not in Arizona, so yeah.
They are now an hour ahead because there's a guy that I do podcast shit with who's down in Arizona, and I had to call him today, and trying to remember the timing was a little awkward.
Yeah, I'm trying to put a demo game for some guys from Chaosium, and they're all over the fucking world. So we have one down in Australia, two here, one's up there in Seattle. The other one, obviously, here is me. I think we've got somebody in Minneapolis.
So
and then
that's
we got
2 ahead, I think.
Yeah, and then we got somebody in Germany.
Okay, the Germany and Australia guys are just fucked.
Somebody's fucked.
Us.
Well, it's if we accommodate the Australian guys, then the German guys fuck. If we accommodate the and vice versa. The only person who's not fucked is pretty much everybody here in the States. That's because we have to go by my time zone to some extent.
Yeah.
If I'm not awake, I can't run a game. So, yeah.
Actually, my game I have, let's see, guy from Sweden, guy from Portugal, dude from Nova Scotia. One guy's from Florida, and the other is actually Bostonian, like myself, and I just met him on Roll20, so that was a coincidence in itself.
Wow.
So yeah, kind of all over the place as well.
Yeah, I've been in some pretty spread out games, but usually it's mostly here in the States, which is good because it's like herding cats anyway. Getting people together on a regular basis, getting people from all over the world to do it. There's regrets there somewhere. Florida contingent, are either of you back yet?
Yes, we're both back.
All right. Nobody said anything, and I didn't see Lloyd, so I wasn't sure.
I talked just because you weren't listening.
I never listen to you, Brandy.
There we go.
Why would I start now?
Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so where were we? We're
talking about Daisy.
Yeah, we were Gemabeth and Daisy. I I think I just said something about having more steel in her than you might think.
Yep.
Says, but even with that the case, I'm glad that you're down there to keep an eye on her. She's troubled, but that's not much that we can do about that, I suppose. Just do what we can.
Do you know more about what's going on than I do?
I'm not sure how much I can say. It's really Daisy's story to tell, but yeah, it would be wrong of me to interject myself. I can encourage her to open up to you, but that's all I can do. It would make things worse, I think, if I were to talk about. So I apologize for that, Genevieve.
Oh, do not. I understand how important it is to have a friend you can confide in, and Daisy will tell me when she's ready.
Yes, exactly, and hopefully she'll be ready sooner than later, but in her own time, I suppose.
You just wait patiently and continue to watch over her.
Yes, just yeah, keep an eye on her, and I'm sure she'll be fine. She may not necessarily be happy, but she'll be fine.
So what have you been doing up to?
Well, things have been. The war has settled down, but things within the reaches are complex. How much do you remember about the different druid sects that are here in the reaches?
I was insulated from that mostly. You guys kind of kept that away from me.
Yeah, for the most part, it was for your own good. The Wardens of the Wood. The Wardens of the Wood are the de facto governing body in the Reaches, and most people don't realize that they are a druidic sect, but they are. And I've never had a problem with them, but some of the others have been more extreme, and they've taken the end of the war as an opportunity to kind of push their agenda on people. For the most part, the Ashbound have been one of the worst, but the Children of Winter have been in their own way just as bad or worse. The Ashbound. Give me a roll for this. So let me see how much you know about this. Where is your stuff? World Scholar plus intelligence.
Give me just a second.
Okay.
Brain. 3. Hangouts. What happened to Hangouts? Wait a minute. Okay. There we go. Plus, wisdom you said, or
Intelligence.
intelligence? Well, that sucked.
You've heard the names, but that's it. And even the names you've only heard just briefly in passing. So seeing your kind of confusion, Rose elaborates a little bit. She says the Ashbound consider all magic that's not druidic magic to be unnatural. Even farming, ranching, they see as being outside the natural balance, and they've been causing problems. I mean, most of the reaches is the wood, but there are a lot of farmers, there are a lot of ranchers, there are a lot of other people that we need to get along with, and the Ashbound have been alienating them, and in some cases there's been attacks. We can't prove that the Ashbound are behind them, but we suspect. And the Children of Winter, there's, thank all that is holy, there aren't many of them, but they think that everything needs to die in order to bring forth a new spring. And they whatever they have to do to bring about that new spring, they are willing to do. They are horrific, twisted people, but they've also been causing trouble. They're permitted in Green Heart. They're permitted in certain areas of the wood, but the conflict has been building.
What is the Give me just a second. What are the Wardens of the Wood doing about these sects?
The Wardens, they don't have the numbers to police the whole wood. They try to keep the more extreme members of the various sects under control, but it's a very difficult task. Olean, and you know who Olean is. Olean is the great pine who awakened and is now a living, thinking creature thousands and thousands of years ago. And he's basically the leader of the druids in the Reaches. Olean preaches strict neutrality. If their ideas are correct, then they will be able to prove them correct. Nature itself will show them to be correct. And so he recommends a hands-off approach. The Wardens aren't quite so neutral, but as I said, they don't have the numbers to police them all the time. I understand the Ashbound especially have been operating in Aundare. There's the fact that Aundare has so many magical academies and so many wizards, and they have such a strong tradition of arcane magic, has made them very large targets to the Ashbound.
They're going outside the wood?
They're going outside the wood. I know they've made... I can't say that I know, but I suspect that they've also been working in Brayland as well. But outside of Sharn, Brayland is much more... It doesn't have the same sort of magical tradition that Aundare does. And Thrain... I know that they're working in Thrain. I've heard tell of Ashbound crossing Lake Galifar to reach Passage, and from there deeper into Thrain. The Silver Flame is no friend of the Ashbound, and they know it. But
What about the rest of the Druid community? I mean, are they doing something to to protect the people in the area? And I mean, I assume that the people in the other cities are doing something, Breland and Aldair. And
It's a contentious subject at best. The Green Seers, they have no interest in anything outside of the wood. The gatekeepers have their own problems, and they've never been the strongest here in the woods anyway. They've been more they're not a wood oriented. They don't pay homage to Olean. They're friendly with the wardens, but they don't have the same interests as we here in the Reaches do. The other sects, individual members may be interested in protecting people from the Children of Winter or the Ashbound, but it's also not their primary focus. Only the wardens are making a significant effort to keep them under control, and they just can't.
if help outside of the wood was available, would the wardens be interested?
They would certainly be interested in talking about it. That much I'm sure of. What sort of help are you referring to?
Don't have anything concrete, just it sounds like a desperate situation. I wonder if I can talk to some of my other friends. I wonder what Caleb's doing. But I wonder if I can talk to some of my other friends and see if this might be a concern to them as well.
Caleb's not a bad man, but you know that he often looks after himself first.
Yes, but we're working on that.
I know, and he is much better about that than he used to be. But perhaps you'll have better luck with it than the rest of us have. He's a lot closer to you than most. He trusts you more than most, though it would kill him to admit it.
That's why we don't let him know that we know.
I'm sure he knows that we know that he knows, but it's...
You know?
Men and their egos.
In any case, perhaps he'll be able to help. He might know more about their operations outside of the wood than he's willing to let on. I doubt that he would work with the Children of Winter, and I doubt the Ashbound would work with him, but he has a way of picking things up.
A way of, I'm sorry, I missed that last part.
I said he has a way of picking things up.
Yes, he does. May have to talk to him about this.
I would suggest at least bringing it up. Even if he doesn't know anything, he might be able to point you to somebody who does. If you do wish to talk to the wardens about helping, I would suggest that you make your way to Greenheart, and somebody there will be able to help you.
Well, I don't want to make false promises. I would need to speak with my friends before I talk to the wardens, but if I can get some interested parties involved, I'll definitely do that.
And if you can get that help, then you have my promise that I will do anything and everything that you need me to do. I don't like to discuss it, but it worries me. When the war was going on, everybody was focused on protecting the Reaches, to securing our independence, to walk our own path, to break away from Aundair and keep away from Aundair. But now that focus has left with the Treaty of Thronehold, I fear that we will be easy prey with this infighting, and Aundair will again establish some kind of hold over us, especially if the Ashbound really are operating in their territory.
That's, yes, very true.
All right, and we will leave it there, and we will continue on. Where were we at next? I think we were at Joindy was next.
That's right.
All right, and what the hell are you doing?
Okay. My first stop is actually going to be exactly what I said I was going to do. I'm going to go to. I have a series of bars that I generally visit. Most of them are upper class, although some of them are more middle class.
Okay.
And it's pretty much just to see what the word around town is. I say and state that I'm looking for information on upcoming parties, on who's throwing what shindig, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But I'm not object to hearing about other gossip and other nuance that might be indicative of political movements or kind of who's doing what where.
Okay.
Have any cookies?
Let me see.
Pretty much. So, just kind of trying to gather the information that would benefit either of my trades.
Okay. Let me see.
And actually, I'm gonna use my 6 for House Madani to kind of help influence this, keeping my. I've been trained to keep my ears open, my eyes open, knowing what to look for, and I'm going to kind of add to that if there's a particular party or something, get-together, that might have some of the upper echelon government officials, and find out guest lists for that kind of thing especially.
Okay. Let's see. It's 29 there in the Okay. It's getting into spring proper. It's been cool. This is basically functionally the end of March, early April. It's still been cool, but the spring is starting to make itself known. And as a result, there are a lot more parties that are being scheduled. People who have been kind of huddled together through the winter are starting to make plans now that the weather is going to cooperate. There are a number of parties. None of them seem very large yet. It seems like any of the big shindigs are not going to be for a few weeks yet. The parties you're hearing are more on the smaller side. Let's see. As for ones that are dealing with powerful government or other influential people, none that are that concentrated, that are that focused. There are definitely parties that government officials are attending, that marked houses are attending, that merchants are attending, but none of them seem terribly focused. That there's no party that everybody feels that they have to go to.
Okay.
Hold on, give me a second. I need to check something. Actually, I'm going to mute myself for a second. Nope, that didn't work out. Okay. So is there anything in particular, like, you've given me like a vague idea of what you want. Is there anything in specific that you want?
Um,
You spent an icon point. I should give you something for it.
I'm essentially looking for money-making opportunities. If I can get some kind of information, I'm looking for money-making opportunities first and foremost. If I can find out that there's a particular diplomat or Mark House representative that's on the middling to upper side, and I can give them a discount to try to ingratiate myself to them, then looking to kind of create future business in that way.
All right.
My store specializes in kind of fashion accessory animals, so it's a little bit of a niche market, and I have to drum up my own business, but it's the kind of thing where I hear about a party and I start sweet talking the woman that's there of, oh, that sounds amazing, what are you going to be wearing? You know, this would, would be a perfect complement to that. And then I start describing one of the animals that I have, and all perfectly trained, all the talking point of any soiree, that kind of thing.
Okay. I keep forgetting that I have my camera off and you can't see me nodding. Yeah, there are a few parties that somebody's looking, even though these are small parties, somebody's looking to make a splash, and perhaps get invited to one of the bigger parties later on. You run into somebody that I haven't named yet. You run into an elf named Fira Vandier, and she's new to Sharn, and Sharn is really the place to be, and she wants to make an impression. And yes, I am going to post the name. Had to cut and paste.
Thank you.
I knew that's what the message was even before I read it. And you talk her into, what do you talk her into buying? She wants to make something that'll be memorable.
Wood elf or high elf?
High elf.
Probably going to be in a flowing gown, probably going to be in something very airy, light colors and silks. I'm going to try to sell her on the idea of a counterpiece to that. So we're looking at something sleek but darker in color. It has to be intelligent. I don't think that a bird would be a little bit passé for an elf. So I'm going to say a very well trained cat, very intelligent, almost magically bred, seems to drape itself across her neck elegantly and not disrupt her clothes, just seems to kind of come and go very quickly and easily, but always affectionate and very It's a. It can do kind of odd tricks, I guess. Its fur is shiny and kind of glimmers between colors a little bit. That sort of thing.
Okay, that's fine. She's very happy about this. And she offers you a very reasonable sum for it. I will figure out exactly what she's offered you later. That most of it won't be profit because this wasn't exactly easy to acquire in the first place, but it won't be a bad profit either.
Okie dokie.
I will think about that between sessions because I'm not ready to necessarily price a pseudo magical cat off the top of my head. It's a bit much.
Yeah, I understand.
All right. I don't know. I can't think of anything else to go anywhere else to go with yours right now. I'm afraid. It's not.
Once I've accomplished my business, however, I do have kind of another heading that I want to go towards.
Okay.
Once I've accomplished my business, the meeting place for the sightless eye.
Okay.
Is that going to be in town?
Yeah, they'll have a place in town.
All right, I'm going to start to head that direction, and once I get there, I'm going to be trying to look up my old teacher, my instructor, my tutor.
Okay. We'll come back to that. I think we need to go into more detail about that, so we won't go into that too much tonight. We'll talk in email and get some things nailed down about this group. In fact, I'm going to have homework for a lot of people regarding some of these NPCs and stuff they're doing. But we'll see about that later. Let's move on to back to Pearl. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I would like to go see my good friend, Verenia. Also, along the way, while I'm going through the streets, I want to keep my ear open about see if anybody is circulating rumors of, why the watch might be a little more active these days. I guess something more akin to the D&D version of Streetwise, just to listen to rumors, maybe chat a few street urchins up or whatnot.
Okay. Let me see. So you hear a few things that could be why the watch is stirred up. You hear rumors that one of the king's sons is to make an official visit to Sharn. In coming weeks. It's only rumors, but that would definitely lead that would lead the watch to making sure everything that round up the usual people and make sure that they're not on the streets while the prince is in town. While one of the princes is in town. You also hear that there's this. This group called, where is it? I wrote it down so I wouldn't have to remember, and now I can't find it. Oh, there. There's a gang that's been acting up in the cogs and the depths called the Dawn Brothers, and they've been kind of in a frenzy, and they've been causing a lot of trouble. They've been on the streets for a while, but they didn't but recently they've been really kind of acting out, and the Watch has been trying to put a damper on that.
Do I know the gang leader of the Dawn Brothers?
No, you don't. In fact, nobody knows who is leading the guild or the gang. Excuse me.
Okay, and are those the only two major things that are circulating around the town while I'm walking?
Those are the two biggest things that you can think of that might be causing the Watch as a whole to be kind of going gonzo.
Okay. Do we know which prince it could possibly be who's visiting?
No, that all three princes have been named at one point or another in the rumors. Nobody's sure which one it might be.
Okay. All right. That's all I want to. If that's all I can glean from that, then I'll continue on to Varania's.
All right, she's got a shop in a place called called Fallen, and although what's his name? Sam was in a kind of a not great neighborhood. Verinia lives in a really bad neighborhood. This is an outright slum, and hers is one of the few businesses there that actually seems to be doing all right. And you know it's because people who cross her don't tend to make it out afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Not for very long. And
Yeah.
so there's kind of an accommodation. The local thugs don't mess with her, and the local thugs then get to actually wake up later on.
Sounds like Varania. All right. So this time I don't burst through the door. I cautiously open the door just in case, there's somebody inside.
It's a really good idea because you know she keeps a crossbow and right under the counter, and the venom on that it would probably kill you in a couple of minutes at most.
Yeah, that's standard fare.
Yeah.
All right. So first I knock 2 times, and then turn the knob or push door and just walk in. Because it's still probably. I said I took a nap. I woke up. I went in the afternoon, so it's
It
probably.
can be at
still
any time.
afternoon.
You've got a couple of weeks to do this.
All right. I'll go in probably later afternoon, maybe 2-3 o'clock.
Okay. So you open the door and you see Verenia waiting there behind the counter. She's got her hand definitely where you know the crossbow is, and when she sees you, she smiles and pulls her hand away from behind the counter and gives you a little wave and says, "Pearl, it's been too long."
Verania, and I return the smile and walks up to the counter, trying to find my usual step stool because counters and desks are still pretty tall.
Yeah.
Ah, my good woman, it has been too long. What is the good word around here? How's business faring?
Business is as always. It's booming. It's with the kind of business I'm in. There's always demand on one side or another. But things have been going well. I haven't had to kill anybody in almost 3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks? Is that a new record I hear?
It's not the highest record, no, but it's been very quiet, and I've enjoyed it quite a lot. So I'm in a very good mood.
I actually came across old Sammy not too long ago. He says things have been kind of quiet lately.
Yeah, the Watch has been. They've been beating the bush, and even the usual bribes are not getting any of the any names out there. They're very clearly looking for someone or something, but they're awfully resistant here. Something. I think something big is going on. It could be one of the periodic crackdowns, but I don't think it is. I think it's something more than that.
Do you think the Dawn Brothers have been stirring up the wasp nest as of late?
Dawn Brothers, don't remind me of those. posers, those thugs, those
Vermin.
pretentious, yes, vermin. They aspire to be something more than they are.
Typical. Well,
And more than most. It's actually a bit disturbing. They have a real taste for luxury, and that makes them desperate when they're not able to get it.
Hmm.
They're fanatics, and it's a bit disturbing. Whoever's running that one, he keeps. It's not worth talking about.
Of course, of
The,
course.
the last ones that I ended up killing were Dawn Brothers, and well, actually, now that you've mentioned it, I definitely killed about 4 of them. Just poisoned their soup pot. It wasn't very hard. Nobody ever thinks to look up, you know. um,
Why you think I stay down here all the time?
yeah, but they definitely should have been dead. I would have wagered money that any of that would have killed the dragon, let alone 4 normal people. But I could have sworn I saw a couple of them last week.
Interesting.
Yeah, it
Well,
was. My eyes could be mistaken, but
your eyes usually are pretty. You're a pretty observant one, Verania, if I know you.
yeah, I don't believe that I was imagining things. I think one of them's working around. I don't. At least one of them's working around.
Well, I owe you a couple favors if you need me to ever look into this kind of thing. Well, you know where to
I
find me.
might. They've been awfully pushy. They've left me alone for a few weeks, but I have no doubt that they'll be back.
Just say the word. My fingers are getting a little twitchy. Since Sam doesn't have much going on himself. Uh, what kind of wares do you have these days?
It's been a bit thin. I'm waiting for another shipment from Zendrick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what kind of wares are you looking for? Are you looking for something
I'm looking for some greenthorn.
greenthorn? I do. I have a bit of greenthorn still around.
I have a couple jobs in the future coming up that I need something deadly. Deadly and quick, but mostly deadly.
Greenthorn. I think I have a couple of vials. It's enough to kill a few people, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. And how much would a vial cost?
Unfortunately, I don't know when I'm getting any more in, so it's gonna cost you a bit.
Mm.
But on the other hand, maybe we can come to an arrangement.
I'm all ears as always.
Let's see. I need somebody to look into the Dawn brothers, as it were, and see what the hell is going on with them. Maybe cut them down a few notches. Literally or figurative, it's up to you, of course.
I love it when you speak literally, Verania.
But if you can maybe do some poking around there and tell me what's going on, it's good for business to be well informed, especially when something like this has happened. The Dawn Brothers used to be much more subtle. They were, I hate to say it, but they were respectable, and that's not been the case. Not in recent weeks.
If you tell me, I wasn't too familiar with the Dawn Brothers before I spoke to you and listened around the streets. Do you have any good, say, leads or places you see them hang around frequently?
I don't offhand. Come back in a couple of days, and I'll have a couple of things for you. I'll have your vial of greenthorn, and I'll have a name or two that you can go and lean on. I I don't know if you're still working alone, but I might recommend maybe bringing along some backup.
I usually don't bring. Well, I might have a few people in mind. I might have to spin the story a little bit to get them to work with me, so to speak. All right. I suppose I'll see you in a few days, and hopefully I can help you from there.
It was good seeing you again, hon. Please stop by more often.
And it's always lovely to see you.
Take care, Pearl.
Okay. See you later.
Okay. I think we're probably going to stop here. Some of this would be better done in email, but also mostly it's I've got a headache and it's coming back, and it's making it really hard to focus. So we'll go ahead and stop here for tonight. And let's see. So we'll try it again for 2 weeks, which will put it on the 18th, which means that thank God we missed Thanksgiving.
Because that pretty much wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it works. You don't go on a holiday. Are we going to hit anything in December? It's maybe a bit iffy in December, but we'll see. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. In that case, say goodbye to our viewers. We're going to go off the air.
Bye.
Goodbye, viewer.
Bye, everybody.